What is up, guys, and welcome to this series where I try to build the world's biggest personal library at home collection. And if you want to have a look at the current state, you can click the little I and it'll showcase you a video that I uploaded 2 days ago. Now let's get right into which books I bought today that are in the thumbnail. First one, George Orwell, Books, Sweet Cigarettes. He's one of my favourite writers. Animal Farm, 1984 are the only ones that I've actually finished by him, but I've started the other ones. This one, it goes into instant versus delayed gratification, the timeless question. Is it better to have pleasure right now or to avoid pleasure and try build it up to then have more in the future? And what he does is he talks in different essays about how much books cost back in the day, how much smoking 2 packs a day cost him, and in reality, how much is that going to cost over compound interest over time. You know what I mean? It's not actually the cost during the moment of purchase, but also the opportunity cost that is going to build up for Mr. Orwell over there. Next book, I've been looking for this for ages and I haven't found it, but I went into a shop which usually I don't get books from and I found it. Virginia Woolf, The Waves. Basically, it's a story of 6 people and their best friend has just died. And it goes through deep into the human soul about how these people deal with the death of their friend. And the mind is almost like the ocean. And the rhythm of how these people think through grief is the story of The Waves. Now let me just get a nice little review, because I saw this review on my laptop here and it's very nice. A linguistic transposition of the ebb and flow, the forging and eroding of the waves of our inner life. So that's the first sentence, but let me actually get to the point. Virginia Woolf speaks somewhere of her earliest childhood memory of being in bed as a very young child and speaking and listening to the sound of the waves distantly breaching on the beach out in the night. She believed the experience remained at the very heart of her inner life, a kind of oracle. So basically, waves are a symbol, a sign from God almost, which actually makes sense. I mean, I'm reading this book called Iliad, everyone knows the Iliad, and in it, the mum of Achilles is a little creature in the sea. So waves come into the heart of Achilles as well. Something like that, So the first 2 books, pretty good. I mean, beautiful cover as well. Look at this, nice cover. Third book, Margaret Atwood, Surfacing. It is about a girl in Canada who her dad goes missing. And let's say Margaret Atwood, Handmaid's Tale, very interesting book. But this one, I mean, the reviews on it are not very good. Let me find him. But I like the storyline. I mean, the storyline is cool. Let me get to the review. Our identity is formed and guided as much by the things we have lost as the things we still have. And this also, does that movie Inside Out? It's almost very relevant to Margaret Atwood's writing. In fact, sometimes what we lose sticks more heavily in our thoughts, preventing us from enjoying what we have in the moment. That is very, very true. I mean, this girl, her dad's died, and that's all she can focus on. And surfacing, her body, her mind is beneath the surface of the water, and the surface of the water is the memories of her dad. So what we need to do is find something in the present moment strong enough to allow us to surface. Do you know what I mean? Letting her wild interior surface. She heals from the wound she has beneath the facade of superficial adaptation. Yeah. So she tried to adapt to the grief of the dead family member, but it doesn't work. So then she ends up having sex with loads of people. Something like that. I mean, I haven't read the book fully yet. So this book, the next one, The Evenings, Gerard Reeve. There's only one reason I bought this book. If you look on the back, it says, voted the greatest Dutch novel of all time. I mean, if you're the author of the best book ever to come out of a country, it must be worth reading. I mean, why not? So it's set in 1947 Europe. It says it's a masterwork of comic pathos. It says it's funny, right? Inappropriate jokes, life is absurd and inexplicable. But set in 1947, now that's a time in Europe where everyone was messed up because it was just the end of the war. They didn't know what purpose they really had in life. Anything religious was kind of lost because people were thinking, how can God allow so much suffering? And then there's apparently a funny book set in that time. So might have to read that in the next 30 or 40 or 50 years. Right, next book on the pile. Daphne du Maurier, Marianne. Story about a great-great-great-grandmother. Something like that. Just, a regular English London story. I don't think there will ever be a better London story than The Picture of Dorian Gray, which, if I'm correct, that is set in London, right? I think it is. That's one of my favourite books of all time. So we'll leave that. Rebecca, I still need to read that. I do have it, but let's keep moving. This one, Atomized by Michael I can't read that. Houellebecq. I bought this because humans are visual creatures. We judge a book by its cover. I mean, that's the only reason. I haven't actually researched it yet. Next book, The Infernal Desire to Machines of Dr. Hoffman. Just take a look at how interesting that title is, right? So I got lured in by the title, and also it says King Penguin, which is interesting because I've got tons of books by Penguin, but no books by King Penguin. Who's King Penguin? I'm not too sure. But King Penguin has lured me into a book which is about the R word. Confused. I'm baffled by the other reviewers calling this book erotic or sexy. Yes, there's a lot of sex, but at least 90% of it is the R word in one form or another, including some episodes of a child. If you find this book sexy, there is something seriously wrong with you. Interesting. Must give that a read at some point. A Portrait of an Artist as a Young Girl. That's got a little thing off James Joyce. It's James Joyce. He wrote A Young Man, and then it says not for resale at the back. Then it says not for resale, which means I have to buy it. And at some point, that book is not a storybook, it's just critical appreciation. So when I'm smart enough, I'm going to read that. And we're back. My phone storage just died. Just had to delete some clips. This one, lovely cover. The Müller-Volker Effect. Translated from the German originally, I think. It's a science fiction book. I don't usually read science fiction, and I probably won't, but it's very interesting because then you take a look at the review and it makes no sense. A rampaging, anarchic comic novel a la Ishmael Greed or Ronald Sukenik belongs in the vintage 60s-70s postmodernist camp alongside the finest Punningeluists and Oulipian sorts not buried in an SF anthologies. Someone tell me please what Punningeluists means and Oulipian, because that does not sound like any language on this earth. Also, what it says, this is the only true novel for our modern times. Genuine novel for our times, except no substitute. And it's quite a bold claim to make, because there are a lot of novels that might want to say the same. So let's read that in the future and do a little analysis on it. Next one. This is a nice vintage copy. Stories from Halifax. Now this one is a historical book. Lovely. How accurate. Probably not, since it was not. This is about the explorations of the Americas. Christopher Columbus, Francis Drake, all those people trying to colonize the Americans. Mysterious Britain. Nice cover. Stonehenge. Nice illustrations. Yeah. This is a book about the questions that people have about the past that are not very simple to answer. For example, how did they transfer huge stones over great distances to form their circles of standing stones? Yeah. How was Stonehenge made? I bought it because it was 20 pence. And for a book like this, for a price like that, I mean, you can't really go against that, can you? I mean, if someone ever asks you a question like this, you can pull the book out of your bag and tell them, do I have the perfect book for you, man? Let me give you that as a gift. And that's exactly what I'll do. Next one, John Le Carré. For the longest time, I thought this guy was French. And then I searched it up. Turns out he's British, but just took on a French surname. I mean, what's the guy thinking? Confusing me all these years. I've got quite a few of his books now. Bought this one because it's a nice hardback, nice cover, isn't it? And Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy. Yeah, that's all I've got to say about it. The Breaking Bad cookbook. Oh yeah, this one. Right, 20 pence again. You have different recipes that show up in the episodes of Breaking Bad. And to be honest, I don't watch TV series much. I haven't watched Breaking Bad. But what this book does nicely is it breaks it up into characters. For example, Mr. Gustavo Fring, who I've seen a couple of his memes where it's like, he's got this interesting face, little structure, do you know what I mean? Kind of trustworthy in a weird way because of the way he looks. And you can have a look and see what type of things he would eat, what type of things Walter would eat. Maybe there's that one girl, Skylar, isn't she? Yes. Maybe she'll be somewhere here. Well, I'm not sure. Might have to buy the book. So, that's the quick haul of the 10 or 11 books that I bought today. Let's keep building this library and let's get to at least 10,000 at Ashton Hall, yeah? Come on. You know how we do. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.